Hi all, Paulette here with Back to Basics Mom. Today I'm going to share with you some video I took of me playing with my new Rubbernecker stamps I got at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. I've also decided to finally break out my Ken Oliver color bursts that I got a while back. I'd gotten these with a coupon. I think I got them 50% off at Crafts Direct because depending on where you buy them, they run anywhere between 30 to $45. So I ended up getting them, I think, for about, it was more than 15, less than 20, with a coupon from Crafts Direct. But they're a really great watercolor. They're very highly pigmented. The powder is super fine. I love these little tubes that they come in because you just take out a little bit, just what you need, and you don't even need that much. So you can just take what you need. Oh, I can't talk this afternoon. So I just want to give you a heads up that my children are home today. So if you hear any thumping and bumping upstairs, that's just them being kids, doing what kids do during the summertime. Also, the cats are awake right now, so you might hear some other odd noises from upstairs or some meowing down here if they want to hop up on my craft table, which they have been wanting to do lately because they think it's a fun place to check out. So just be forewarned that those things might be happening, but I just do this on the side. This is just kind of a fun thing I do, and life is going on all around me, so you'll have to bear with me. I really hope you enjoy this video today. For the first time, I just kind of put my video on record and just kind of did my thing. I didn't really have a big plan in mind. I just kind of was playing around with stuff. I did try to edit out a lot of the downtime where I'm searching for tools and stuff like that, but it is still a fairly long video. I know it's a good half hour long, so I hope you enjoy, and we are going to play with some color bursts and some Rubbernecker stamps. So this, you can see I just kind of painted on, kind of loosey-goosey, not real specific. I just painted on the yellow that I wanted to use for this. I love the watercolors because the colors are going to blend, so I pretty much just used yellows and reds to blend in to make my oranges in this butterfly. So you can use whatever you want. Now, this particular color palette that I got from of color burst that I got, it's got 6 colors in it, and this is pretty much the primary pack. So these are just basically primary colors, and I can actually read off the names of them to you, maybe, because Alizarian Crimson, Orange, Ultramarine Blue, Violet, Phthalo Green, and Lemon Yellow. So those are pretty much the basics. There are 2 or 3 other packs and metallics as well. Now you also saw my red. I just kind of went around the very edges with the red, and be careful when you stamp it down. You don't want to slap it down. You'll see me slap it down too hard on my next card I do, and it splatters a little bit. But you get that beautiful blend after you spray it with a couple of spritzes of water. And then I'm just going to set it aside to dry. You can use your heat tool. Careful about shaking it because it is nice and wet, and the water and the colors will flow. So I decided to speed things along a little bit and get out my heat gun. And I didn't cut this part out because I wanted you to see that it just doesn't take very long at all. So I think even with the time I cut out of this video, I was working less than an hour to do all that you're going to see here today. Now, if your card starts to curl on you, you've probably seen this in other videos, but if you heat it from the other side, it will help reverse that curl a little bit, and then you can even bend it back and forth a little bit to get your shape right. Now, this cardstock I'm using is a watercolor cardstock. It is Canson XL, so I got a bunch on clearance at Walmart that was a little bit lighter weight, but I like the heavier weight one that I got at Michaels, and this one that I'm using today is 140 pound. And I always watch my sales at Michaels because they have really, really good deals on their art papers, so especially watercolor paper and whatnot. And if you followed me for a while, you know I'm all about getting the best deal that I can. So this next part can be a little bit tricky, doing the second part of the stamping the outline stamp, lining it up correctly, and you're going to see it takes me a couple of times to get it right. And if you own these stamps or are interested in buying them, just know it's going to take a couple of times to practice with them to see how each one lines up. But even the ones that aren't perfect, I think are just beautiful. And I've given them to people, and they don't know that it's not right or whatever. It's just it's so pretty. So I'm just lining it up the best I can, and with my VersaFine. And I love this tip that I learned from the people at Rubbernecker about using the black VersaFine, because you can emboss with it, and then instead of fussing with black embossing ink, you use clear, because when it's over the black ink it will look black, and it just really makes these images pop and really just so vibrant and amazing. So and then we're going to heat that up with our heat tool again. And I love the effect of watching the embossing powder melt with the heat. Every time I do it, it's like magic. And it just never gets old for me. It's so cool to watch the change, the reaction with the heat. I just think it makes it's I love butterflies anyway, and especially the monarch colors. My daughter was obsessed with monarch butterflies for a long, long time, and she and I in general both really like butterflies, which you'll notice on my YouTube. Part of my logo, my business is there's a butterfly on there, and it's a watercolor background. So go figure, this would be something that I would like. So we're going to do this a couple more times, and it's basically just the same process over and over again. So I'm going to see if I can find some music to put in here to play so I don't have to just ramble the whole time. I'll come back with you when we get to the next part. So enjoy and sit back, grab a beverage of your choice, and hopefully you get inspired. All right, so I'm back, and I really like how this third image came out. Even though it's still not quite perfect, it still came out pretty darn good. And I just decided to, let's go ahead and make this one into a card. So trimmed it up, and now just going to try to decide what color cardstock I want to put it on. This one I think I'm going to do black, just keep it simple. So just basically going to get it stuck down and see how it looks, see if we need to do anything else to it. I'm thinking it's going to be good on its own. This happy birthday border is just phenomenal. It was one of my favorite finds from the expo, and a really nice addition to anybody's stamp collection, honestly. So I am not endorsed by, endorsed isn't the right word, but I'm not affiliated with Rubbernecker at all. I love the products. I love the quality of their stamps. I think they have a very well-rounded stamp line, and enjoy them very much. So I do not get any compensation at all for doing this video or using their stamps or anything. I just wanted to clarify that. So now when I trimmed it up, I didn't really go by actual dimensions. I just kind of trimmed it, so you saw me struggle to kind of get it even in the middle of the card there. But really like how that turned out. I thought it was really pretty, but I did notice that when I trimmed it, I had not let the ink dry, so I'm trying to clean up some of the ink smudges, and that's just one of those um, sticky squares that's used to pick up sticky stuff. So I just kind of rolled one of the corners, rubbed it on my craft mat to make sure I didn't put any more staining down on the card. But I think this worked especially good because this is watercolor cardstock, which has a little bit of the sizing on it, so the smudging actually rubbed right off, and I was pretty happy with that. You couldn't really see it in the video, but when you looked at it, in person, you could totally see the smudging. So thought that came out good, and since that came out so well, I want to try one more time just to see if I can get everything lined up good, see how I can get my colors. So we're just going to try it one more time and see how it goes. So again, just putting my color on, not really paying a whole lot of attention to how things are, like how thick I've got it, how even I've got it. I'm just kind of want to get a full coverage with the base color. And I always like to start with the lighter colors just because I think it helps the colors blend together better if you start with a lighter color as your base. I, again, am not a professional, so you don't have to do it the way I do it. You can do it any way you like. That's the wonderful thing about art, is there really is very few things that there's a right way and a wrong way. It's pretty much, when it comes to aesthetic stuff, it's whatever you like. And I've tried it. I've done a little different each time, but the only thing I've done the same every time is kind of going around in an outline. But otherwise, where I've put the ink on the inside has been just a little different each time. So I'm just kind of rolling with it and seeing how it goes. So just got to grab another piece of cardstock, spray it a couple of times. Some of these I sprayed twice, some of them I sprayed 3 times. I think for me, in this particular spray bottle, twice works really, really well. It puts down a pretty fine mist, but I think 2 sprays works pretty well for me most of the time. So I just like to let it sit there a minute so the ink can seep in, and didn't come out quite as defined as I was hoping, but that is okay because once you get the outline on it, it's not really going to matter. Now, one thing I did differently on this piece was I forgot to dry it in between doing the ink and doing the outline stamping, but it's going to turn out really cool because it just means that more embossing powder is going to stick, so it's going to be like shiny over a lot more of the colored area. So you're going to see that in a minute, but yeah, I wasn't really thinking. I was just trying to get this done, and pretty much as soon as I laid down this part, I was like, oh shoot, I forgot to dry it in between, but just rolled with it and see how it went. And then I was really, really keeping my fingers crossed that I got it lined up good, and there you go. Just about perfect. Yay! So, and it only took a few times. That was the 4th time I did the stamping that I kind of figured out the how to line things up. So it really doesn't take a lot. And I think altogether I spent less than an hour doing this entire project today. So even with um, all the stuff I edited out and whatnot, and a lot of that was just, like I said before, like collecting tools or searching for cardstock or whatever, because I hadn't gotten it out ahead of time. But we'll get the heat gun out and emboss everything, and you'll see that it really just makes all those colors pop. And clear embossing powder is just really fun. It it makes everything even, it just brightens everything up. So don't worry if you mess up and forget to dry things or forget to use your static tool. Just kind of roll with it, see how it goes. You can use it as if you forget to use your anti-static powder on a different card, you can, try to do a resist technique, because the embossing powder will resist color, and you just never know what's going to come out. I mean, you can usually, even your mistakes, you can usually turn into something. So it's usually got to be pretty bad to not be able to revive it in some way, shape, or form. So I'm really happy with how that's stamped out. I just think it came out so cool. So we are going to go ahead and turn this one into a card and do the same thing just like we did with the other one. I'm just wiping sometimes even though you try to be so neat with the embossing powder, a little bit of it spills or gets sprayed around because it's so light. So I was just wiping it up there. Good tool tip for cleaning up embossing powder is Swiffer wipes. I buy the box of the no-name brand, like you would put on your Swiffer floor thing, and I cut them into quarters and keep those around. They work really good on glitter and embossing powder. So I'm just wiping away a little bit of the extra ink that got smushed into the middle of that stamp, just because I'm a klutz and I didn't want to ruin my image that finally came out the way I was hoping. Now be careful, I kept sliding this back into frame, and this mat I have underneath is very slippery, so that helps. And the watercolor cardstock has a little bit of tooth to it, so I think that's why my image did not smear. Lucky me. So that worked out. And the reason I keep turning that big block sideways is because I can't get a good grip on it the other way, so that's why I have to keep turning it sideways to make it easier for me to line up for you guys. So, and these stamps wash beautifully, and red rubber always pretty much does. So I'm just cleaning those up to get that VersaFine. Because some stamps, the VersaFine will stick and stain a little bit, which I personally don't care for. But I just use a little bit of the Stampin' Up stamp cleaner, which is what I have right now. I'll probably try and make some of my own homemade stamp cleaner. I've seen a few recipes out there when I'm out of the Stampin' Up one, and I will be sure to let you guys know about that when the day comes that I have to do that. But for now, I'm just getting these cleaned up, and we're going to move on to finish making the rest of our card. Now, what color? What color? I don't know. What color? Color is the thing I struggle with the most. So do I want red? Do I want orange? Do I want red? Do I want orange? I don't know. We're going to have to put it on there and see. This is my trimmer I've had, oh gosh, a long time. A Creative Memories trimmer from when I first started scrapbooking, God knows how many years ago. I think I talked this in another video recently, talked about my trimmer and how long I've had it, and gosh, it just seems like yesterday I bought it, but it's been a while. So I really like the red. The orange seems like it would be more of a go-to for this particular color palette, but I'm digging the red, so I'm just going to go with it. I struggle so much with color choices. That's one of my biggest challenges in doing creative arts and whatnot, is color choices. I don't know why I struggle. My scrapbooking too. Oh my gosh, I will agonize over a page way too long with my color choices. But trying to get past that, and just, if I see it and I like it, just roll with it. So I'm just going to get that centered up on there, put it down. Oh my gosh, it's so quick, so easy. You might not think it's quick because this is a half-hour video, but I'm playing around and experimenting. But I mean, it's such a simple card, but oh, I just can't get over how pretty it is personally. To me, not everybody might think so, but I just love it. So there's the 2 cards we made, and the other 2 images that we stamped out today. I want to thank you for stopping by and joining me and hanging out through this long video. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll come back. And if you like me, give me a thumbs up. If you want to keep seeing more videos, hit subscribe and find something crafty to do, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.